Yo, what's good with it? Podcast. I got a super special guest today. I got my pops. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Tony McLemore. That's it.
So, is there anything right now that you feel like you missing from your life?
No, no. Quite honestly, I think at 56, I basically retired from one job, retiring from the Navy, just getting close to retirement for this one. So now I just want to travel, take your mom and go someplace and do some stuff.
How does it feel to make it this far though?
I don't know. It's kind of surreal because I think when I was your age or younger like that, I never thought about retirement. You just know you have to work. And then when you get to retirement, it's like, okay, now what? What do I do? Do I keep going? Do I not do anything? So to answer your question, it's just kind of surreal because it still doesn't seem like it's gonna be reality. But I'll be good at just staying at the house. I'm good with that.
So, I think my thing is because one of the things I feel like I'm missing, or not even missing, this is a feeling I have, and I talk to y'all about it all the time. It's that feeling of y'all statistically are doing way better than what y'all could have been. You can hold it or you can put it on a shirt. It's really up
I'm
to you.
putting on my glasses. Go ahead. You say we statistically doing better.
Statistically, y'all doing better than what y'all supposed to be doing as black, a black, what's the word, black family.
Black family, yeah, yeah.
So for me, I feel like I have to be on that. Like I have to not only carry y'all's legacy, but then make my own. So I think I stress myself out a lot of the times doing that because it's like I just feel like I need to be better than, if not as good as y'all, or as good as y'all, or if not better.
Well, I definitely take that as a compliment, but you also have to realize, before you guys were born, before you and your brother were born, I mean, I got a Navy. I didn't have a job for a month, and reality sets in as a husband because I wasn't a parent then, but just as a husband. Maybe call it chauvinistic, call it chivalry, call it whatever you want to, but it's not my wife's place to take care of me. It's supposed to be the opposite of that. So I didn't have a job. So your age coming out the military for a whole month, I wasn't working, and the opportunities were not there. And it wasn't that long ago. It was what, 92. Yeah, 92. Um, the internet was just, I don't even think has really kicked off yet. So it wasn't like getting on the internet, going to LinkedIn, or just searching for jobs that you had to find. You had to really beat the pavement. I had to get the newspaper and circle the job and get on the bus and ride down there and call for interviews. So it was rough. And I say all that to say is don't put too much stress on yourself because we all have to start at the bottom. You got to crawl before you walk. You got to walk before you run, and you got to start someplace. You just have to set your groundwork. And for you to feel like, for you stressing yourself out, you can't do that. You just have to remember that try every opportunity there is. Now, I will say this: my parents before me, your grandfather right down the street, um, literally worked at a company for 25, 30 years or tried to work that long, and then they basically cut it, you know. And at that time, that showed me that the days of having loyalty to jobs is kind of over with because it's just like if they want to fire you, they don't give you a 2 weeks notice, but they want you to give them a 2 weeks notice.
That's why I don't like.
I,
I don't know what. Because for one, I don't like working for companies for that reason. And I was saying this another time, but it's like they want to abuse you so they can put more money in their pockets and not give you any of
oh,
more of what
absolutely,
they're saying. They might give you a commission once in
absolutely.
every few months,
The
but it's like
the days of old, like my grandparents and my dad initially, when they first got those jobs were like jobs were mainstays, to the actual people. The company president knew all the workers' names, doing by first, first name or whatever. Now you do have to maintain some line between your workers and executive staff, but you still it seemed like they treated their employees a lot better. But I just say now, don't stress yourself out. Everybody has to start someplace. But I put that little caveat in there about loyalty between jobs is you can start one place, but that doesn't mean you have to stay. You know what I mean? You should always be looking to better yourself. And I think that's kind of, for me, that's kind of the way it worked out. Um, when I was working for state, working for DPS as a trooper, I loved that job, but the pay was trash. It was trash. And I hated to leave, but I had to find a way to make sure that I provided a better situation for y'all, you know, your mom, you guys. And I think any man who worth his salt will try to do that. You don't necessarily have to worry about that now because you don't have a wife, you don't have any kids. But once you get them, once your first child is born, your whole thought process is probably gonna change.
What
About
kind of what kind of flip is it? Is it like a what kind of
it's an emotional flip, but then it's also I got to get on a grind flip. You know what I mean? I mean, I would hope that I've always been that way about working, but I think once you get kids and then you realize when the bills come due, because now not only do you have rent, car note, electric bill, gas bill, now you may have to have mortgage, diapers, school funds. You have to set savings aside because you got to prepare for all. You got to prepare for emergencies. You have to always be in the prepare mode. Okay, I got to be prepared for this. Got to be prepared for that. So my friend, I had a friend in the Navy named Lee. Lee used to always say he had a backup reserve. He had a backup amount of cash, and he had a backup reserve amount of cash, and he had a backup reserve. So he had like 5 or 6 savings account. But he did that because of the way he grew up. He never wanted to, go back down the road. So he wanted to always make sure that he had something. You know what I mean? Something back. And I'm not saying don't enjoy your life. I think some of you guys in the younger generation, y'all get it confused when we say try to save, try to save, try to save. I'm not saying don't enjoy the spoils of your works. So if you work, you work hard, you get some money. I'm not saying don't have fun, go enjoy yourself. You want something to buy, but you always have to have something just in case something happens. Car breakdown, tire goes out, you know, here, water heater go out, air conditioner go out. You gotta have money in order to get this stuff done. Everything's money driven. So when you have kids or you got to have a backup and you got to prepare. You got to prepare for life.
I guess I know I'm still young. Like 23 is relatively young, but I guess I feel like and I think social media is blowing for this partially because we only see
Yep.
the good parts of people and we don't
Yep.
see the struggle it took them, or we see, oh,
Yep.
it did take you overnight. So
Yep.
I think that kind of rubbed off on me in some ways because now I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to be here and I need to be going fast.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I'm just chilling or I feel like I don't have anything to do, I feel like I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel useless, but I'm just like, what am I
Well,
supposed to be doing? I ain't making no money. I'm just kind of here waiting for something to hit.
I think for you guys, it was social media. Social media just shows you what people get. You know what I mean? Because nobody want to put on there the struggle of going through it, but they put, oh, these are the spoils. This is what I'm doing now, but they don't put what it took to get there. It's kind of like with us in my day, and I hate to say this, but my day, I really sound like the old dude. But years ago, it was a drug game. Okay, I need that fast money, so I'm gonna go out in the street and I'm gonna hustle. Yeah, but you run the risk of getting arrested, getting locked up, getting shot, getting for whatever reason, getting killed, or however. There's nothing wrong with you grinding, and then you can really say at the end, "Oh, I did this. I know I worked hard for this. I accomplished what I needed to do by working and grinding and hustling." Now, for you, or people on social media, it's cool to have the podcast and the things that you need to get there, but you always need to have something grounded. So, in other words, my Uncle Robert, the one that just passed, his children, Mona, Greg, and Robert. My Uncle Robert has plots of land all over the freaking all over Arkansas and Dallas. So he's got like rent houses. He was able to have that envision to where he could set his kids up. So like my his youngest son Greg has the air conditioning business, and that's what he's doing. He's running it, but he had to grind to get all that stuff that he did. But he achieved all that. I don't know if he got handouts, if he got help, but that's kind of my uncle Aaron, his son, Aaron Jr. He did the same thing with his transmission business. So there's nothing wrong with having alternate plans. My Uncle Robert worked for Sears Roebuck. They call it Sears Roebuck, and he worked with a guy who said, "Hey, we want you to come learn the air conditioning business," and that's what he did. So he worked there, and as soon as he realized he was going to be good at this, his baseline, which was Sears, he quit because he had something to fall back on. He got this up and running. That's what you got to do. Have a baseline. Use that baseline to get where you want to go, and then start it up. What I always tell y'all: do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. And sometimes you got to take a job that literally sucks so you can get to a point to where you can be like, okay, I've got my baseline. I have the funds. I have the thought process. I can start my own business, or I got my baseline here, but it's time to move on. It's time to do something different.
I think that's one of the things that scare me though, because I know I don't care about working. I'll say 1,000 times I don't care about working. I just don't like working for people that are going. I shouldn't have to work anywhere that I don't enjoy working. Is what I feel like.
That's fair.
And I know you saying you gotta do what you
Do what you have to do so
so
you
you
can
can do
do
what
what
you
you
want
want
to
to do.
do, and that's fine. I'll go work 12 hours a day, but at the least it could be somewhere I enjoy. I think another thing is I just don't know what it is that I want to do, so I feel
That's,
like I'm
that's
kind of
fair.
just wasting away. And I know you say like it took you a while to figure out what you was passionate about, but it's like hindsight is 2020. Like yeah, you realize
Yeah.
that now, but it's like
Exactly. I'm 57 years old. I'm be 56 years old. Of course, I'm gonna realize it now, but it took me forever to get there.
so it's like I can listen to you and I can hear it, and I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
it's probably gonna happen. But at the same time, now that I'm living in it now. Not that you haven't. It's still stressful.
But that's why we always tell y'all, you have time. You do. I mean, we say you have time. That time went by fast. That 50 some years went by real quick. But at the time, I had time. You're still trying to figure out life. You're still trying. Your brother's a prime example. Your
Yeah.
brother went from here to here to here to here, and he knew what he wanted. He knew what he enjoyed. It's obvious he enjoys working with kids. It's obvious he enjoys coaching. Now he's got an opportunity. You see what I'm saying? And if he, depending on how he plays this, right, he can maneuver that and make it even better opportunity. So, I was talking about the roof, the ceiling, whatever case may be. He has a glass ceiling right now. He could probably just explode through that. It's gonna take time. So that's why we don't. We've never tried to be parents. I've never told you, you got to do this. You got to do this. And I've always said you can figure it out. But that's why you have a support system, and that's why I hope as parents we've done. We're not trying to collar y'all. We're not trying to, you know, spoil y'all, but we are trying to tell you it's okay as long as you put forth the effort. Then we're in your corner to support you to try to help you do whatever you need to do. And I don't know what other kids have. I don't know what their family situation is. I don't know if they have people to support them. But kudos to you as a young man and realizing that that you don't want to, as you may say, you don't want to just be in your parents' pocket all the time. But at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a village. You know what I'm saying? Like I always told you that if I had the money, I would buy 10 acres. I would give each one of y'all an acre, and I would have acres that we could just grow our own stuff and have, because that way we are all there. We're all supporting each other. You live your life down there, but as a unit collectively, we can come together. We can grow things. We can build things. We can make things happen, and then you can go back to your life. You still have your own space. If I had my way, that's what I would do. I don't want to be in y'all business. I just want y'all to be okay.
I want you in my business. I'm be like I said, I want y'all over the hill. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to be able to see the house.
That's fine. That's
So I throw a
fine.
party. I don't need y'all worried about what's going on. I'm like the Great Gatsby. Uh,
But that's the thing. Like my mom died when I was in my early 20s. So I've become closer to my father. And I don't know if you paid attention to this lately, but if y'all can't go somewhere with me, like a funeral, he always ponies up every single time. This is the third time he's gone. And I know I'm not saying that y'all should have went. I'm just saying he is trying his best to let me know that I'm supported. He loves me and he stays around. So he's still building that village. You know, they just far enough, but just close enough that if something happens, I can get to him fast. And I think they did that on purpose. So
Hmm. So to you, what's probably like the hardest part about raising kids? Because I know that's a whole nother. It's like a whole nother person you raising, and I think we lucky enough to where it's like we actually like each other. I know some people have kids and it's like, yeah, I love my kid, but I don't like my kid, or I love my mom or dad, but I don't like my dad. But I think we actually all love and like each other.
man, the hardest part about raising kids is never knowing when you're gonna make a mistake. I mean, shoot. It's just not knowing. You know what I mean? You want to protect them from the unknown. You want to protect them from the negative stuff that's going on in the world, but you also want to educate them. And I don't know if we did a good enough job educating you guys about politics, educating you guys about history, Black history. Uh, but I think just trying to keep you out of harm's way. And it's funny you asked me that because you know uh, we talked about one of Cameron's friends who committed suicide, and I talked to one of the parents, and the parents was like, "Man, our kids are soft. They don't know how to deal with stress." And I said, "Well, that's our fault, and it's our fault in the aspect of as parents, we didn't want y'all to have to deal with that. We didn't want y'all to have to deal with what we had to deal with. So a lot of times, what seems like it's overbearing and stressful to y'all is like water off the back to us. Now, it could be a couple of things. It could be the fact that we're not realizing the fact that you guys are young and it is like overwhelming to you. It could be that maybe we did go through a lot more when we were younger and we're saying that you're soft because we're not able to just grasp that concept anymore that you guys are still young. It could be a bunch of things. But I think just being a parent, you never know what the right answer is. You never know where mistakes can be made. And it's hard for you to say, well, I'm always the one. Just make a decision and stick with it. Well, a decision could be a wrong decision. Well, even if it is the wrong decision, having a child, you go back and say, man, I don't want to make a wrong decision. But what we should be saying is, okay, if I made the decision that's wrong, then me and my child sit back and talk about what I did, how I was wrong, and then you give them the teaching point. And I think that's where we made the mistake. Like, I don't want to make a mistake and not tell you why I did something, and then it backfired on me. And I hope we did that, but I don't know.
So what would you say is probably your biggest regret with each of us, me and then Cam, or Cam and then me? If you could go back and redo one thing with each of us,
Uh,
and that's probably a loaded question. So
I think well, it probably is a loaded question, but I think with Cameron, I think we did collar him too much. Cameron was our first. You know what I mean? He was the first one. We spoiled the heck out of him. Grandparents spoiled him. Everybody spoiled him, whatever the case may be. And I don't know if we gave him an opportunity to be out, to be to learn things on his own or whatever. I don't know if Cameron was really that kind of child though. So like you have to go by your child's personality. Because even though I thought, and maybe we did, but I thought when Cameron was younger, I was thinking we allowed him to do whatever he wanted to do. But he didn't really want to do much. He wanted to play football, be home, go hang out with his friends every now and then. It didn't seem like he wanted to do much. But I don't, maybe maybe that's my one regret, not feeling like I connected with him more. And you know this, for you leaving when I had to go to Afghanistan, just missing that part of both of y'all's lives. That was rough on me. And the one thing I do remember is I can't remember if it was Daddy or somebody else told me that, and somebody made a comment to you, I hate your daddy had to leave y'all, and you apparently you told him he ain't had to leave. He had orders. He had to go. He ain't had no choice. And it put it into perspective for them. But you know, you guys, y'all were just super smart at a young age. Y'all would say stuff. I'm like, how the hell? Where did he get that from? And it's hard to say what you regret because you don't really know what you miss. You know what I mean? Like even now, I don't think as a parent you ever stop teaching. But then again, as a parent, you never stop learning either.
Hmm.
Like I learn a lot from y'all even now. Just sitting back and talking and having conversations. And I don't know with you if I missed much because I think I caught you at the right time. By the time you started middle school, I was here more. I was here a lot more. So to help guide you through the process of trying to understand middle school and high school, I think I was probably more here for you than I was for Cameron. And once he got older, so I think that those are maybe the things I regret: leaving y'all, uh, not realizing, not knowing if I connected with y'all enough to try to give you the information you need. Yeah, I think that's probably it.
What's your favorite memory though?
The day y'all were born,
So what's that like? What's that like?
man. First of all, both y'all were preemies, so both y'all were about the same size. Cameron was here to about right here, and you were here to about right there, and I held both y'all in my hand just like this, literally. And it's just, it's a different feeling, man. Because like I don't have any brothers and sisters. I didn't even think I would even have children, much less of that. You just never, I never really thought about that. So when y'all were born, it was just like, man, this other person is here. It's something that you and for me, somebody you love, have created together. And it was it was excitement, it was joy, but it was also oh shit. Now, I got to get on the grind
Scary.
again. Now I do feel with you because we had Cameron first. It was like okay, we've done this already. We kind of know what the framework looks like, so we can have. Cameron always say he think you got away with more. You didn't get away with more. It's just we had the framework when Cameron was born, so we knew more of what the negative stuff was, and we knew how much rope we could give you. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't know if we let Cameron off the rope a lot because it's like, okay, don't do that. We scared something gonna happen to you. But then by the time we did that the first time with him, and y'all 6 years apart, so we kind of had all that in hand once he got older. You know what I mean? Once you got older, it was like, okay, well, this is how it worked for him. So we kind of know the shell of how far we can let you go, how far what things we can let you do, and then kind of go from there.
I'm gonna go back to us being some preemies. How you feel about both of your sons being short? I've been curious about that.
Don't bother me.
It don't. Well, then, was you expecting us to be? Is the question.
I don't think I ever thought about that.
Really?
Huh.
I'd be thinking about it. I'd be like, if I was a dad and most of my kids came out, I'd be kind of frustrated.
But then again, you got to look at who you married.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
but I
It's
feel like
like
we just got unlucky though.
no,
Not
see,
unlucky, but
see, now this is one thing that I don't like about y'all. You should never worry about what your looks are, how dark you are, how light you are. What difference does it make? Because at the end of the day, as long as you're a good person and you do what you're supposed to do, don't worry about nothing else.
you think that's a product? What you think that's a product of?
Social
Because
media and peer pressure.
I was going to say
Because
same
don't
thing.
know nobody cares that you're short other than you. I, this is one thing I do say about social media. But you just missed all the great opportunities for somebody who's not 6 feet. The guy may not have six figures, but he may be the best, most mentally sound person. He may not be the richest guy in the world, but he's definitely thriving. He's a good person. He's good hearted. He's kind. He has the Christian values. So you just missed all that because you want all these different things that social media and peers think you should have. And I think that's where, for you guys, I don't ever want you to be concerned about your height, be concerned about how you look or whatever case may be. You just do the best you can. That's the creator put it on this earth for that. do the best you can, and get better every day. That's it. It's just that simple. Everything else is gravy. If you have the six figure job, high six figure job, then that's great. But it doesn't mean anything.
Just don't change your character.
It's exactly. It should change your character. If you have good character, it shouldn't make how much money you got. You still should be of good character. Period.
Hmm. I had a question and I forgot it.
You just be the best person, and as long as you're humble, stay kind, and you know a lot of this world, really, this world is nothing but about networking and connections anyway. You know the right people, and that's why you should never be mean to folks because you never know who's in a position that not that you may need one day, but let's just say you mean to somebody and then you see them someplace else that you're working, and they're gonna remember that. But if you're kind and you're nice to them, they'll remember that too, and that goes a lot further than being just ugly.
I'm not meeting people because I don't want to get shot. That's why I
Well,
ain't
that
meeting
too.
people. People
That's
crazy
another
now. You
thing.
can go outside without worrying about getting stabbed, jumped, shot, something.
That's another thing. I mean, and you hate that we kind of live in this society, but it is what it is.
Okay, so when you when did Jim Crow's abolished? What, 1965? Like completely?
I think so. Yeah.
How we weren't born yet, were you?
Mm-mm. I see.
How was it growing up on the tail end of that?
I was born in '68. I don't remember like the first 2, 3 years of my. I'm very little of being that little, but I've experienced racism, but I don't think I experienced racism like my dad. Like my dad still can tell me about living in Longview, Texas, and having a colors only water fountain, and having to go in a certain part of a bus or something like that. I don't know if I've experienced it. I've been so naive to that extent. I've experienced racism, but if I've experienced it to that extent, I must be naive and not seen it. I can say for me, my life, I've been very blessed, very fortunate to have good people, black and white, who have supported me, especially in my military career. I cannot tell you how many white people in my military career were able to lift me up, and it's it's been since day one. My company commander was a Filipino guy in boot camp, and I just went to him one day. I was like, hey, knock on the door. Crew Maximo, blah 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 blah. He said, hey, because boot camp was over at this time. We had like one more day. And he said, hey, we're good. You don't have to do that no more. And it was kind of weird. So I asked him, I said, hey, look, sir, I just trying to figure out how I can get to that E3 level. You go in boot camp as E1 as enlisted. You can get what they call meritoriously promoted to E2 or E3. But it depends on how your performance is, what you did. And boot camp was over, so I was just asking the question afterwards. And I said, is there any way, can you tell me how I can get meritoriously promoted to E3, going to school, whatever? He says, you already did. Huh?
No, so he just promoted you
Yeah.
like
But
on
it
the
was
spot.
on, before that. It was like people laugh at me when I tell this. I didn't go to a regular recruit com- uh, class, right? So they call it triple threat, band, drill team, and choir. So I was in the choir. So I sang my way through boot camp. But
You can
because
do
I
that.
was in the band and I had done some drill team in middle school, I could have fit all three of those. But quite honestly, I was the only black in the choir.
You can do that. I didn't know that they had choir
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
military.
yeah. So the Navy has their own band, the Navy band.
Oh yeah.
They have their own drill team. Each service has their own particular group. But when you go through boot camp, they screen you. Hey, who can do this? Who can do this? And I was like, band, drill team, choir.
So I hope it's not offensive, but what's the point of a band in the Navy? Or I feel like in military in general, if we just going to be out there
Because when they
battling,
when they do all these celebrations, like when they do all these parades and stuff, it's just like a pomp and circumstance type thing. That's really all it is. It's a morale booster.
they can't just hire somebody. Like
You can, but why hire somebody when you got a group of real that can do it?
they still got to pay them.
Yeah, I mean, you still in the military.
Is there people that join just to do that, just to
Yeah,
be a part
there
of
are
that?
some people that have done that.
You can do that too.
Yeah,
You can still get orders though, right?
Yeah, you can get, well, theoretically, no, because you're only going to get the orders specific to your job rating. So if you're in a band, you're going to get orders to go play, wherever, USO or overseas or something like that. That's what you're doing.
But they can't get like go to the field active duty orders.
Theoretically, no, because you have to be trained for that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have to be trained for that.
I might go play the tuba or something. I need some money. Do they get paid good though? Since it's just if it's just a band
They
or
just
it's the
say so,
same
like
grades.
Master Chief. They just get paid to do their band stuff.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
They have an orchestra.
yeah. So the band is the orchestra. So they do everything. Now, the thing about the Navy band and Marine Corps band, obviously, so they can do everything. So they have to do drill and formation. So they have to like march. They have to be able to march in cadence. They can, they're multi talented. So they may sing. They may be able to play like 4 or 5 different instruments. It's just different. It depends on what your skill level is, and then what they train you to do.
So when you was back in there, what was your favorite? What was your favorite part of the military?
The people, the
Did you?
camaraderie. Yeah. Oh man, like let me tell you this story, dude. I think I told you this. So I'm on nuclear power submarine. I'm a torpedoman's mate, so I deal with
You ain't saying no classified information,
no, no,
right?
no, no,
Okay.
no, no. So I deal with torpedoes, tomahawk missiles, harpoon missiles, boat security, small arms, handguns, any type of ammunition. That's kind of stuff I deal with, right? So I'm an E5. It's like year 2, year 3, I can't remember, and I'm qualified weapon handling supervisor, right? So the way a submarine loads weapons is they have a topside crew and they have a torpedo room crew. Submarine fast attack at that time was 3 levels: lower level, middle level, upper level. Okay. And then you have the weapon shipping hatch, which you bring the weapons down into. The whole forward part of the submarine you can take apart. So they're like decks. There's deck plates. You can take the deck plates out, you store them, and then you bring the weapons down. So like you can, at first it's like it's a floor button, but once you take everything out, you see all the way to the top.
What was the point of that?
Well, this is how you get the weapons down. So you got to take it all apart to get the weapons down. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
So you got to take basically the
okay.
whole forward part of the board, take all the decks out, so you can get the weapons down. So I'm weapon handling supervisor. So I'm at the back of the room. I am controlling the weapons coming down and going out. Once they get topside, they're not under my custody. But as soon as they latch up and they lag it on top, you can see them. The weapon tilts like this. Once that weapon tilts, it's under my control. So I'm bringing it down, right? And the guys are here. I'm like, clear, bring the weapon down. And the CO's stateroom was on the 3rd level. So it's like CO straight up right above me. And then once you walk through a little doorway, that's control. That's where you drive the ship from. That's where the fire controlman, sonar, quartermaster, all them places up there. So CO stateroom right here. I'm cussing like a son. Hurry the fuck up. Y'all need to move. We need to get this weapon down. Yeah, I am going off because I'm trying to get these weapons down because it's hot. I'm tired. I know the guys upstairs are hot, tired. Plus, we got a whole bunch of weapons out there. I'm cussing up a storm. We having a good time though. We laughing, we joking, but I'm being serious, but we laughing, joking. CEO opens his door. Pastor McLemore, can y'all at least calm down just a little bit? Yes, sir. I apologize. Let it down. One of the guys said, I told y'all to stop cussing so MF and much. But it was just fun. We had blast. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know your job. Safety comes first in everything we did. But just having a good time and having fun, you're doing one of the most dangerous jobs that it is on the planet, right? You got 18, 19, you got anywhere from 18 to 25-year-olds that run the Navy, that run the military in general. These guys are driving tanks. They're on a flight deck. They're working planes. It's dangerous stuff. Nuclear power submarine, capable of going 200 feet below the ocean. Flooding can happen at any time, but we all know our job. We're all responsible for each other. We all believe in supporting each other, and you have a cohesiveness that people out here don't have. It's a totally different thing. Like I met people from all over the world, and you know It may not be normally we may not interact with each other, but because we had that time in the military, you develop those bonds. That's why veterans are so tight because they understand each other. They understand what the other guy's been through.
So was there ever a time that y'all was down there and y'all had like a leak or something?
Yeah,
Oh no, that's probably my worst.
4 months before I was supposed to get off, okay, before I was supposed to get out the Navy, we're in the Atlantic. We are coming back to the States. Now, mind you, I'm a torpedo man, so this they call it the firing control system or torpedo room firing system, right? There's I could still draw it out for you. Basically, there's a system that fires that uses air, pneumatics, and water. Okay, there's a fire control valve. That fire control valve basically sits on top of something and it stops it from firing. Once you hit a switch, that valve releases and that starts the process, right? And it what it drills, it starts the process. It allows water to be coming in and push the torpedo out. So it's kind of like a C shape. It brings the water in. There's a valve that goes up to the torpedo tube. That water comes in and pushes the torpedo out.
So when submarines shoot missiles, it's not. Is it the explosion out there? It's just the water.
It's just water pushes
I
out.
never knew that.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all it is water. So air, water, and hydraulics. That's it. So when that ram came up, I heard it. It sounded completely different, and it was like five people in the room. I said, "Oh, like that." I said, "Shut that valve!" And as soon as I shut that valve, the packing on it broke, and you had a straight line of flow of water coming into the pre-room. I mean, it was straight. If you'd went over there, you got your hand cut off because there was that much pressure on it. Because we was at like we were below 200. I can't tell you what it was, but we were below 200, and it was a straight sea line. So as I said, shut the valve. This guy named Tiny, his name is Jennings. He was going over to do it, and as soon as he got there to do it, water started coming in. So just that quick, hadn't been down there for so long, and having to learn every single sound that that thing made, hearing it so much, I knew exactly what it was. Scared the heck out of me.
How y'all figure it out?
We just secured it,
Oh,
and then we were able to fix it.
I think that's my worst fear is like drowning or getting burned alive. That's two of my worst
But
fears.
that's what I'm saying. You train so much that it. My God, I got so tired of training. But then after we train, so I know why we're training. You have to learn when you when you're in the Navy and you're qualifying submarines. You got to learn every part of that boat, every electrical system, every water system, every hydraulic system, and every pneumatic system. And the reason being is if something happens, you got to know how to secure it. We had a fire in the laundry one time because we have wash and dryer. Laundry caught on fire. You got to know what switches to get to turn off the electricity, and then you have to learn like what else we have. We lost power to the generator, so you have to learn how to secure the generator and then switch to the secondary power. Like if you lose reactor power, you got to learn how to secure that and switch over to the generator. So you got to learn all that stuff. We're in port, but you say, well, okay, your question was what was the most scary? That was one. That the one I told you.
I
The
couldn't do
second
that.
one was we would do dumb stuff. So that we were part of what's called a development squadron, right? Development squadron go out and they test a new periscope. We test like new sonar, total array, anything that was new. We was the test platform for it. New weapon system. We did testing everything. So we were always out to sea. So we were in the Med, and this was my first cruise. We were coming back, but we were still in the Med, and they just had the Libyan missile crisis. Some missile had shot at one of the ships and killed like some Marine Corps colonel, a Marine Corps first sergeant or something in the barracks or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But we were on station to shoot. And we didn't shoot, but they said, okay, we're going to switch out weapons. And instead of us pulling in port, we tried to do it in the middle of the Mediterranean Ocean. Now, mind you, submarine sits on the surface because there's air in what they call um, uh, ballast tanks. When that air is pushed out, there's nothing in those tanks but water. That's what allows you to be submerged. But when you're on the surface, there's air in there. So we're doing this on the surface. We're bobbing back and forth. So we're trying to get these weapons down. That weapon shipping hatch is 21 inches in diameter. So 3 times we would go down below the water surface and take on all that water. And that water comes straight down. It wasn't no
Like y'all
stopping
had
it.
it open.
It was open. So you got this big old hole and you taking this water in.
Why y'all have it? Well, y'all was testing it.
Doing dumb stuff. Why
Oh,
we in
y'all
the
was
middle
just
of why we in the middle of freaking
because y'all
Mediterranean
supposed
Ocean?
to pour it. No, okay.
It was just dumb. So this is one time where I think I was I E3? I was E3. I told the chief, I said, that's it, we're done. He was like, what you mean we're done? I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not. I told people, I said, y'all start putting up. I said, y'all write me up. Chief looked at me and said, good call. He went up to the CEO and said, that's it, we're done.
You
CEO
didn't
was
get
like,
ready.
what? No, no, no.
So
They would have just did it. I was like, man, this is stupid. We all gonna die. What are y'all doing?
did you ever have any of them scary moments like when y'all was doing like the open swim stuff? Like when y'all would do the
No, we didn't have swim call. I
oh
don't
y'all
remember us
didn't?
having not one swim call. If we did,
I don't
so
understand
I
that.
missed about 4 months on the boat because I was in school. I don't think we had ever had swim call.
I don't know how people be doing that either. That sound cool, but it sounds scary too. I don't like the deep ocean like that.
And let me tell you, that ocean was deep in some parts.
So how many
And
times do you think we've been on a cruise ship and it's just been a submarine just cruising by maybe?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a
Oh,
good question. I don't know.
because I feel like that's probably a whole bunch. You just be chilling and just be one just going about their day.
So I tell you, when I was active duty, Orlando, Orlando, what am I thinking about? Where's NASA? Cape Canaveral. Cape Canaveral is where we used to always go because that's where we would go. There's a weapons firing range just off the coast of Florida. I don't think the cruise ships go there, and I think that's the reason why because that's specifically for a weapons firing range for the submarines. So that's a good question. I don't know how many times there may have been a sub around there.
And then my last question or our last section is gonna be: is when you looking for a woman, what you supposed to look for? Because I don't even know no more. I'm having terrible luck now.
Dude, you're supposed to look who. Okay, look who is right for you, who appreciates you, who talks to you the way you want to be talked to, who treats you the way want to be treated. Somebody you can befriend. There's no template. You have to just kind of figure it out. But you gotta. I don't know what the dating scene is for you guys right now. I don't even know how that looks. I don't even know if y'all date.
A whole bunch of malarkey. It don't even make any sense.
And another thing, and I hate to say this, you may have to get out of Texas.
That's fine too, but I just don't feel like driving five or flying far or having to worry about what you're doing all the way over there. And I think
No,
honestly,
you gonna get there regardless. So you might as well just forget it.
I think with my ex, I feel like that just
You talking about the one at SFS?
I think that just kind of threw my whole. It left a bitter taste in my mouth because it left a bitter taste for me because I had cheated and everything, and then when I pivoted, and then I saw how it made her feel, and then we got back together, and then I was experiencing it. Then I was like, okay, and I was taken aback by it, and then after that, it was just I ain't been able to like gather myself.
It is gonna be very hard for you to. And again, I ain't trying to get beat up on your podcast. Women's thought process is a whole lot different than men. Certain things men don't have that much care about. And I don't mean to make it sound callous, but we don't. There's certain things we just don't care about. That ain't important to us. But it's way more important to women. And a lot of times they want you to see their plight, their whatever, and we just don't. You know what I mean? We just on two separate things. So you have to find that woman who you guys see closer, more close in alignment. You know what I mean? Uh, Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But until you get married, it don't matter. Especially at this point in your life, it don't matter until y'all are married. And once you're married, that's when it starts. mattering about how you treat them, what you do moving forward. But again, that's got to be twofold. It's got to be both of y'all. You have to fill in line. She has to fill in line. But I I wish I could give you more information on how to pick a woman or what woman to pick or how that works for you. It's got to be for you, and you don't ever know that until you start talking to somebody.
I'll do this one. I think I think after that, I think I carried a whole bunch of guilt, and I think that guilt changed to shame.
Yeah.
So then for a while, I was kind of telling myself, I was like, well, you don't deserve love, or you don't deserve this, that, and the third. And then I tried to reach out to her, and she ain't say nothing. So obviously, I think that kind of even extended it to me feeling some type of way. And I know people can be like, "Oh, well, you cheated." I'm like, okay, my hands is up. That don't change the fact I'm still a person. I still have feelings. So it's like I carry that shame around for so long that now I'm trying to change it now. But it's like I subconsciously tell myself all the time, "Oh, this is just karma, or this is just it's just the world saying just giving you your payback for what you did." So sometimes I
Well,
just feel a little stuck, or like,
I think you're very selective on who you choose to talk to in the first place. So you're limiting yourself, as we talked about earlier in
yeah,
your podcast.
you're not wrong. But I don't know why I do that. Even all my friends say I limit myself, and it's not even just with women. It's with everything. Like I'll tell myself, I say all the time, "Oh, I don't think I can do it," or it might be too much work, or something like that. And I don't know
Now,
why I do that
if
so
it's
often.
anything I think I failed on with y'all, I think it's that. You should never limit yourself. What's the worst thing somebody can say to you?
No,
That's
maybe
it.
an
But you
insult
don't
or
ever
something.
know till you ask. But it's a saying. People always say, closed mouths don't get fed. So you never know what the response is going, what the action is going to be until you open your mouth and say something. You got to try. I mean, that's probably where I may have or may have not succeeded because I put my foot in the water on everything. I've tried a bunch of stuff. I've been lucky that a lot of it has panned out in my favor. Um, but it's the same thing with women. You never know until you try. The worst somebody can say to you is no. But then what happens if they say yeah? What happens if you go someplace and you just not even trying, you just spark up a conversation with somebody? Somebody drops something on. Oh, here, man, you dropped this. Next thing you know, y'all talking, and then it just goes from there. That's the best opportunity to beat somebody if you just not even looking.
I think I'm too selective though. Like for me, if I feel like physical attraction is a big thing now,
Of course, it throws. That's the first thing you see. People always tell me, "Oh, it don't matter." No, it does matter because that's the first thing you connect yourself with.
but then my thing to follow that is the women that I'll be attracted to a lot of times aren't attracted to me, and
Yeah,
then vice versa. The ones that like me, I'm like, I don't really
yeah.
and I know you just got to kind of wait for that time, but I'm tired of being a bachelor.
But that's the thing. Like I get what you're saying, but you have to. You can. That's one thing you can't force. Who you meet is who you meet. Did your mom ever tell you how we met?
Yeah,
It just happens. And that's something. The person that really is the one for you is the person that you meet just out of nowhere. You just someplace and you just something happened and y'all just wind up talking and next thing you know it goes from there.
and my actual last question: what would be your biggest piece of advice that you would give somebody, any young man? Because I think a lot of young men now feel like we need to have it made and figured out young versus understanding that it's gonna take time and grit to get to where you want to be. So what would be your advice? And not just to me, but like you're talking to me, but you're talking to everybody.
You just said it. You don't have to just have everything in one day. Rome wasn't built in a day. No perfect dynasty was built in a day. Even God took 7 days to build his planet. So I mean, it's not always quick. Quick is not always better. Like they say in dominoes, fast money ain't good money, and it's not. You have to find because in the process of you doing all these things, you have to learn, and you learn so you can not make the same mistakes, or you learn so you can understand how the processes work. I can say for you, watching you grow up, going from high school to college, That's a complete 180 change for you. I don't necessarily think you enjoyed high school. I think high school was overbearing to you at some point. But I think college, you talking about spreading your wings, that's exactly what you did. And I think you have to maintain that same level with everything you do. Experience things. Experience everything that you can experience. Try to figure out if it's right for you, if it's not right for you. And then you'll know what you can do, what you can't do, or what you like or what you don't like. You never know until you try.
So this might be a hard question too. How do you, I guess, how do you not stress about or become okay with the time that you know has to pass?
What do you
Like,
mean?
because in football, they used to tell us it's just 1% better each day. So you know, each day you just got to do something, just put the next foot
Yeah,
forward.
yeah,
But for me, a lot of times I think I find myself stressing during those days about is what I'm doing enough or is this gonna lead me somewhere? Because it's kind of like you kind of just
yeah.
you just feeling around. You don't
I
really know where
understand.
you're gonna end up.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you be okay with just with that? Because I think I struggle with that.
That's a hard question, but I'll flip it back onto you. I'll flip it back to you like this. Is that a bad thing? Is it a
No.
bad thing to always try to want more or always try to figure out if you're doing the right thing? It can be stressful, but I think that's a positive trait in the aspect of you are already telling yourself right now at 23 years old, am I doing enough? So that means it's stressful, but because you're having that thought process, that should be a positive for you going forward. Today, this is what I did. Okay, can I do more tomorrow? Can I do more the next day? So if you can change it to not stressing versus, okay, this is what I did today. These were my goals. This is what I accomplished. All right, tomorrow, maybe I can do X, Y, and Z. Maybe I can do this right there. And then you're even closer to obtaining your goal. You see what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think if you can take that stress and flip it to, okay, this is all I can do today. I maxed out. I gotta finish the grind tomorrow. And then don't forget it. Don't forget that, this is what I said yesterday. Let me try to achieve these things tomorrow.
I'm put a mental note on that one because we're gonna be done right now. But I do because I want to keep talking about because it's like what was you saying? Uh, I forgot the question I was gonna ask. Follow that up, but we talk about that later. But I appreciate y'all for listening. I would restate his thesis on what he said he wanted. I mean, what he said we needed, but I forgot what it is already. So I'll rewatch it back. I'll put it in slow motion, put some music, make it all dramatic. But I appreciate y'all for watching and listening. I appreciate you for talking.
No
I
problem.
want to have you back. I want to get Mama. I might get both of y'all at the same time.
Okay.
But that's it.
All right.
I'm sweating. I don't
Oh,
know. You passed me some type of sweaty gene.
dude, I was sweating so much at that funeral.